All right, welcome back.
Oh, you didn't count me down. We haven't started
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
I was going to play the
I
song.
gotta have the
I
countdown.
thought you were just rolling.
Sorry.
3.
I was going to play the Sun Visor song.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. I just want to count us in on that.
Ready?
He's got it queued up.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I'm a real. She take after her auntie, got her mind on my money. Tattoo on her tummy, booty hella chunky. Every time I see her, she look nicer and nicer. Haters throw shade like a sun visor. I told her that I'm
What did you say, Jay?
That is like the weirdest rapping style I've ever heard.
That's
You guys-
actually, did Weird Al start doing rap?
You guys never heard
No, he's been doing
E40?
that for a while.
I haven't heard him. No, and I'm just.
E40's been around for years, decades.
I'm
So have
glad.
we.
I'm glad that a rapper who enunciates is finally, you know,
and he
Yeah.
wears glasses.
That's great.
like nerd glasses.
He's overweight, wears glasses, and he's one of my favorite
Sounds
rappers.
like-
It
One of
sounds
us.
great.
He's like,
Yes.
she's got tattoos out of tummy.
I was thinking, going back to what we're talking
Booty
about
hella
before.
chunky.
How about Elder Whitaker's Roadshow?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be a part of that.
Or even just Roadshow.
Yeah, because Roadshow would actually make sense to the folks that would be partaking of that. Safe for
So
work Roadshow.
what we're talking
Yeah.
about here is Jay recorded
A comedy
a
special.
comedy special. It's clean,
Yeah.
100%.
and we're trying to name it.
I think you should just call it "Fuck This."
Call like this was
No.
really fucking hard.
Yeah. No, Kerry's got it.
Yeah, Kerry came up with the best. We're just trying to outdo Kerry, and we're learning as we've been learning for 30 years.
Doesn't
that we
work.
Can't.
Can't do it.
No.
Well, I started learning when I was 5.
And it's gonna be like when you beat your dad bowling. Someday I'm gonna top you, and I'll be like, finally.
I finally did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in his 80s.
Yeah.
But
So I've
finally
got
beat him.
like 30 years before I can top you
You
on
couldn't even
content.
pick up the ball.
He's like, oh, dad can't lift shit. Let's go.
I beat my dad. I beat my dad at playing pool. No,
Forfeit.
That's right. Jimmy was there. It was the night I beat my dad playing pool. We all got drunk and saw Keanu at Broovies.
Oh, that's right.
That was so great. And we dropped my dad off at the hotel. He's drunk as shit.
That was pretty good.
It was good times. He's like, that was a good movie. I like cats. That's all he said was, I like cats. That's how I knew my dad was drunk. He's like, I like cats.
I like cats.
Your dad is funny as hell.
Felix.
All right.
Felix.
Here we go. I should precede this with, if you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we're going to be talking about something here.
You've had enough
Yeah,
time.
shut up.
The-
You
the-
don't care.
Yeah.
The
Plenty
lesser of the Guardians movies.
Fast forward a little bit.
Plenty of goddamn time to see.
God's Tam.
God's Tam.
That's
God's
right.
Tam.
I'm being safe for work.
Is this Billy Bragg?
It is.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
This station's been killing it, by the way.
Oh,
Like
thank
I've
you.
been really enjoying it.
Thank you.
I've heard some of my favorite songs.
It's
today.
my little mix.
Yeah.
Let's see. So
It stopped killing it just right now.
I know. So you can't. See, if I ever had a comedy special, it would be what I'm about to say to you about the music mix. They can't all be gems.
Right, exactly.
All right, so James Gunn on his Facebook page, and if you don't follow him on Facebook, you should. He gets into a lot of
He's
interesting
great.
stuff. He is talking about the surprise resurrection in everything.
Right.
Here it is, the idea of the life after death and why he's not a fan.
Ah.
What bothers me is when a character is given a beautiful or powerful death in popular culture that fulfills a character arc, and then is brought back in a sequel or comic or later episode through some unusually ridiculous means because, you
And
know, he or she is popular.
Can I give a recent example of that? I love the Kingsman sequel, but it was lousy. It
Yeah.
was lousy with, like,
Colin Firth.
just like,
fan service.
yeah,
wanted-
and then they
I wanted
killed a
to
bunch of
see
people,
it.
and you're just like, oh my God, they're probably
right,
just going
well-
to come back to the next
Well,
one.
I want to go around and we'll talk about this. Let me get this out, and then we'll talk about our specific beefs that Leigh apparently has one.
Oh, that's not Spock. That's, I don't have a Spock beef. He's a vegetarian.
I got ribeye with you.
This I got marbled ribeye with you. This has become so commonplace in TV, movies, and especially comics that any significant death, at least in franchises, loses its emotional impact. And by extension, all death and danger lose their power in these stories. Although it is always possible to see Yondu in a flashback or prequel, I personally will never bring him back to life in present time because it would nullify his sacrifice and the love from father to son that affects me so much personally as well as others all around the world.
This pleases me because every time I've watched that movie.
Yes.
I just bawl.
But can you imagine
Right.
like watching it again? He's like, he comes back later.
One of the reasons that Yondu is the most popular character from the second film is because of his sacrifice. And the idea of bringing him back in Volume 3 or 4 or a Yondu Netflix series because he sells a lot of Funko Pops horrifies and sickens me. Like I said, I hate it and I'll never do it. In sharing his thoughts about character resurrection, he also revealed something about the cinematic Guardians of the Galaxy that might upset his fans. The Groot from the first movie is dead.
Yeah. He's like
a lot of
what-
people don't realize
Well,
that.
it's like
It's a clone.
he's a starter,
yeah.
Right.
right? It's like he's
Yeah.
a plant. He's a
It's
starter.
it's like if I took cells from Jimmy and cloned Jimmy, that is not Jimmy. That's the
Yeah.
clone.
Although,
What?
it's
Jimmy Junkus.
Although I don't necessarily think it's obvious in Volume 1, it's important to say that if you exploded and a little glob of you started growing into a baby, I would not assume that baby is you. I do not.
He told me. He promised he wouldn't tell people. That's how I was brought to this.
I do not think it's more obvious in Volume 2 as Baby Groot has a different personality than Groot.
He's mean as fuck.
None of his memories is as much and is much, much dumber. In comic book mythology, and he talks, the story talks about where Groot comes from and all
Yeah.
of that. But that's the comic books, and we're talking about the movie. So there you go. I will start and say, although I enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I felt that bringing Phil Coulson back nullified his death in Avengers.
Oh, it totally did.
Because that was such a moving moment.
Yeah.
Great story arc dealing with the Tahiti project, but still.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but
It's still a total cop out.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what brought the Avengers together. Anyone else?
I
Do you think bringing Spock back to life?
No, that's the first thing that popped into my mind because
Yeah.
Spock actually had an amazing death, and it's been cheapened a couple of times because when they first brought him back, for one, Star Trek 3 is not that great of a movie, but nobody's fault really, right? Just bad directing and terrible writing. Everybody else.
So
So it sounds like
so
you've
that's two
identified
people.
who's
Yeah.
yeah.
at
so
least
the
like
director and the
17
writer.
people. that you've
But
Nimoy directed
He
3.
directed 4, and he did a good job with 4. But I think giving Spock that he sacrificed everything for the betterment of everyone. You have that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few speech. It was an amazing speech, and it was an amazing death. So bringing him back, great for the franchise. And it's kind of ironic that his character is the one that outlived everyone else on the ship, but it wasn't necessary. My biggest one is actually Ramirez, Sean Connery's character in Highlander,
Oh, God.
because when that stupid ass mockery of a sequel was put out,
You didn't like that, huh?
no,
Wait.
They brought back Sean Connery's character in the second one.
that's right.
Yeah.
Was it Sean Connery?
Why did you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
stormed
yeah.
out of the fucking
yeah,
theater?
yeah, no, and not only that,
That's
it's
why he
because they
stood up
were-
and screamed like a crazy person.
This is bullshit.
This is bullshit!
So we're expressing our grievances over.
Resurrections.
Okay. I got mine in the first one.
I got 2.
Go for it.
First there's Letty from the Fast and Furious
Yes.
movies.
Yep.
That made me mad. That made me really mad. Michelle Rodriguez served her purpose. She just no, I'm kidding. Ripley.
Oh.
I was just thinking that.
Oh.
if those directors had been allowed to make the movie they fucking wanted to make,
I get it.
I think it would have been different.
Yeah.
Because when they go through that lab and you see all those Ripley clones and they're
Well, that's 4, but I mean, the sacrifice was made in 3.
Well, you could make the Groot argument with the Ellen Ripley
Yeah.
clone because
Yeah.
it wasn't her.
and they
where did they get the DNA from again? I forgot that.
they got it from
Fecal
The
matter.
lava.
They got it from
Cold matter.
because
Yeah, she shit on the way down.
the version of her in 4 is the sacrificed Ripley. She sacrificed herself at the end of 3.
Yeah,
she fell into like the vat of like lava.
in a vat of
Right,
lead.
but they
It
had
was-
done
yeah.
the medical officer on the prison actually took a whole bunch of
He
cell
said they had
samples from-
samples. Yeah.
Quick, scoop her out of it.
No,
like
that's
a
not.
pool drain.
When,
Whoa,
when-
whoa, 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 whoa.
when they took her out of the ship, out of the ship from Aliens, they did tests on her
Oh,
and
okay.
Newt's
Yeah.
body and
Yeah.
Bishop's body, or not Bishop's
So,
body.
so the Baby Groot argument could be made for Ripley.
True.
then.
she is
Yeah.
she is a clone,
Yeah.
but she's not a clone in 3. She's a clone in 4.
That's what
Well,
I mean.
we'll go back to Letty from
Yeah.
Fast and
Yeah,
Furious.
well,
and,
no,
and,
no,
and
I think
again,
we're not
if
gonna-
those
no.
if those guys hadn't had their movie fucked with by Fox,
Yeah.
we're dealing with the guys that made Amelie, City of Lost Children, Delicatessen,
Just terrible movies.
Micmacs, just
Fight Club.
Yeah,
So French.
yeah, right. They sure did Fight Club.
No, Fincher did in 3.
I was talking about 4.
Oh, 4.
I'm
Oh.
talking about Ellen Ripley's resurrection.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
in 4.
Yeah.
And I think if they'd been allowed to make the movie that they were trying to make before Fox stepped in and said, well, this is really French,
Yeah.
and just tacked on a whole bunch of yeah.
Thank God somebody stepped in.
There's all the subtitles.
There's half a good movie there.
No, I like 4, but
yeah.
I'm still kind of bummed a little bit. Like,
Well, after hearing you say what you like, I got 3 now. I
Okay.
had 1, but now
All
I
right.
got 3. 2, or excuse me, the first 2, Superman, Captain America, is like, yeah, I was just like, leave them dead. Like, I just like.
now, movie-wise or comic or both?
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
And this is a weird one, but this is my first answer when we brought this up.
Medea.
Tupac. Seriously, like dead serious,
No,
like
but
dead serious.
he's actually dead.
Yeah, I know, but people keep trying to like.
Clone him.
Yeah, yes, Tony.
It's
yes.
a house of Tupacs. A house of Tupacs.
No, it's just like
They
people.
won't let him go. is
Yeah,
what
they
you're
won't
saying.
let him go. I
Yeah.
mean, like the only.
But
like-
Jay, there's money to be made.
I get it, but it's yeah. We all know the answer, but it's just I don't know. Like, just leave that shit alone.
For me, it's 2 comic book characters.
Yeah.
And the first one was because it was always like we always said, well, at least this character stayed dead.
I think I know who you're going to say.
Bucky.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Bucky
not who I was
Barnes.
thinking of.
Bucky Barnes. And even though we got some great stories out of it,
Did
Oh,
get some great stories.
amazing stuff.
but it was always like, well, Bucky's still dead, right? From Captain America.
Yeah.
And they brought it back, and it's kind of like, God, well, that's it. Everybody's on the table.
Oh yeah, and Marvel.
And
Is he back?
And then the
No,
second
he's
one
dead.
Oh, okay.
is God damn it,
dead.
and this one is just like super personal for me. Fucking Jason Todd, because I called
Yep.
that number to kill him so many fucking times. Yep. And then he comes back, and now he's like all fucking cool and shit.
Yeah, with a leather jacket,
Red
Yeah.
Hood mask.
leather jacket.
Oh, is
And
he
Jesus
Red Hood
Christ.
now?
How many times has Jean Grey died and come back?
Oh,
They even
that
make
one.
they even
Fucking 1
they
million.
even
There's even like 2 Jean Greys coming up now.
There's-
the fucking teenage one and then the
The
resurrected one again.
and then the leather jacket, green jacket.
there's actually a great joke in the Grant in the Grant Morrison run of X-Men where Frost is talking about his attention span doesn't even last the length of a Jean Grey death.
Sounds like me.
For me, it was probably Barry Allen. He was my Bucky because he died in 1985.
And of the most like
And
heroic
yeah,
fucking way
by
ever.
far, sacrificing himself to save the universe.
And I remember reading that as a kid in Crisis on
Infinite Earths. Yeah.
and just be like, oh, what the fuck?
Barry Allen.
Not
The
Flash.
Flash.
The Barry Allen is dead.
And then they brought him back, like 10 years ago or so.
He's been around longer than that.
Huh?
Don't even-
Barry's been back longer than that.
No, it was maybe 15 years ago, but
Yeah, I know
but he
Wally-
was good for a dead or he was
Yeah.
dead for a good 20 years.
Yeah, Wally was the Flash for
Right,
quite some time.
exactly.
And that's when I got back into Flash, was reading Shannon's Flash comics
Mhm.
when he ran around the world and stopped in Salt Lake to get some pizzas.
I'm sure.
As you do.
Don't even get me started on Stefano DiMera from Days of Our Lives and Roman.
What?
Well, and
You completely lost me on
well,
that.
and Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless.
Sure,
But we
yeah,
digress.
right.
We digress.
I'm sure it's happened more than once, but watching Daredevil season 2, Elektra. Just
She's been resurrected a couple times.
that's what I'm saying. Just leave her on the rooftop. Let's just move on.
Or like
her comic story is interesting because they did all of the years of Frank Miller material in season 2. And then Elektra as an assassin and leader of the Hand is kind of where they tried to go in Defenders, but didn't have the writing skill to pull it off.
They do the same thing with Ra's al Ghul all the time in the DC comics. He dies and goes in his Lazarus pits
That's
on
kind
a
of his
weekly basis.
That's his shtick, though, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Stephen Amell, Arrow.
Yeah.
Just leave him on those rocks.
But the best, the best.
He
death-
walked off fucking death.
Is Wolverine still dead?
yeah.
Oh, no, he's
Um,
coming back.
He's coming back.
He's coming
He is
back.
coming back.
Well, they decided no more Old Man Logan.
No,
Who
they're
is-
keeping him.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 Wolverines.
Yeah.
There's going to be 3 Wolverines.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
Was it like
3.
was it
I've-
like prequel Wolverine, like
Don't know yet.
earlier? Yeah,
I-
he should just
I
stay
just-
dead. I like
I'm
it.
sorry. Marvel Comics is a fucking mess.
They're all a mess. I fell out of love with DC and Marvel about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and
Me too.
I just can't stand them. And it's hard because that's a 30-year love affair. And-
There are some titles that you really need to be looking at.
well, there's titles I still
You know.
like. Vision. When you showed us those,
Yeah.
Vision
that's
is
great.
amazing.
Invincible Iron Man right now.
With
Riri Williams.
Yeah, Riri's killing
I've
it.
got 3 little girls tuned on to that, and they're just so digging it.
And that's
and it's
where-
a great story. Doctor Doom as Iron Man has been infamous. Iron Man
Sounds great.
has been really fucking cool. That's been a great read.
Is that the
not
same kind
saying-
of thing they did with Spider-Man and Doc Ock?
Superior?
Yeah.
Superior?
Well, it's just Doom has
Same
come
idea.
around, realized that he's been a fucker all this time.
I think you always knew he was a
And
fucker.
Tony Stark is in this coma thing or whatever it is that he's involved in, and he's decided, well, I better step in. And he's decided he's going to be like Superior Spider-Man. He's going to be the invincible Iron Man or whatever it is.
So does he just steal a suit or what?
He builds his own suit based on
Dr. Doom, he can
based-
build a suit.
Based on science and magic.
Yeah, science and magic. That he gets the combination.
That's kind of cool.
But
So I'm not saying that there aren't standouts that pop out. I mean, like strangely enough, Gotham Academy that DC put out. It's a teenage book, but I actually really like the writing in it. It's really quite well done.
here's what I should say about Marvel Comics: everything that they're not doing, the standalone shit is what's been working. The Daredevil lately has been really good.
The stuff that's not involved in their.
Not involved with their thing.
Their big crossover
yeah,
event.
that's where they've been dropping the ball. But
They broke my fucking heart. They made X-Men unpalatable for me, and that's hard. That's something
Well,
that
yeah.
they're bringing back. There's going to be a new X-Men comic coming out.
just don't care.
Right?
This
I
one might
want-
have Puck in it, so
And when you and then when you're hitting me with a $5 cover price on top of it,
that's the big
Hey.
thing. That's the big thing.
So
Well,
what?
that's
I mean,
it's
what?
like I can't afford it. I
I
can't
know.
fucking afford.
I
that
can't
shit.
afford it. Like, so what do you do? What's a poor man's solution?
Marvel Unlimited.
Marvel Unlimited, you
Yeah.
wait 6 months and then you get it, and that's good. And I
But
still have my
considering
Marvel.
I'm 3 years behind, I'm like almost like I might as well just.
Yeah,
Fucking,
I might as well
But
be.
it's hard when
Yeah.
you have Image titles, and Image is creator owned. So every Image title, and I believe they're still $2.99 a book, and they're putting out quality comics.
Some real
So
good stuff.
Really,
and the other
really good.
fucking fucked up thing is though we got to support our fucking comic book stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's
Well,
I hate going into Volts and just buying toys.
yeah.
I go buy glasses and shit now.
Yeah, but
I would
I've-
suggest
I mean,
the
Dave-
library.
Dave's happy that you do that.
I know, but
It would
it's
be
a comic
nice
book
if, yeah,
store.
yeah.
And so I go in there and buy HeroClix and action figures, and that's great. And I'm glad he's got them. And I try to buy a trade here and there, but it's like I am too gun shy. It all goes back to the last series of X-Men that I read, where I was just kind of pissed.
Is it when like there's the little kid X-Men and the?
No, I actually like Bendis' run on
Yeah.
the all new X-Men was actually kind of cool.
So what sucked about the new X-Men?
It was when they were colliding all the universes together, and they just started, just to be new. They just started writing the characters
Well, see,
differently.
and I think it felt like that's what, especially Marvel and DC to a point. I feel like Marvel is just being new to be new.
But I got to give him points for that. It would be easy to sit and write the same old Hulk comic. It would be easy to
I'd
do
rather
that.
that
Totally
they. I
awesome.
would rather that they say, you know what, we're going to focus on 12 titles and just make those 12
Now,
titles
that
amazing.
would be
Yeah.
great.
Because instead of we're going to focus on however many 65 titles, and maybe 12 of them are great. How about we just put out 12 great comics and put great creative teams together, and maybe not have a hey, it was well written but poorly drawn, or poorly
yeah.
written and drawn excellently.
That always
how about,
bums me
How about
out.
it's a good writing team and it's a good illustration team, and how about you don't have to worry about when that illustrator can't make an issue, so you get somebody who's drawing with Crayolas that week.
Right.
That when I'm putting out, I mean, literally every dollar I make is made from the sweat of my brow. Not saying I'm significant compared to anybody else in the world, but every dollar I spend on something is, I feel it. I feel it. We all feel the money that we spend. So when you're spending $5, which is not even half of what minimum wage in this country is right now, you buy 2 comic books, you just spent more than an hour of minimum wage on what might be a good book. You hope.
Yeah.
And what I've read
Dude.
too is like
Preaching facts over here.
Marvel's been canceling some of their like really like challenging and like interesting books, like before it could even make a trade.
Yeah.
And that's like where they're making their money now. Like the comic book companies are making their money from trades.
Well, they're trying to say that no one's reading diverse titles, and they're trying to blame things like Miss Marvel for being too diverse and
Miss
too on the
Marvel's
shelf.
awesome.
Miss Marvel's brought more people to Marvel than any comic I can think of in the last time.
I'll actually pick sorry, yeah, it's obvious I'm a person of color, but yes, I dig Riri as Iron Man. I dig
She's
Miss Marvel.
great.
I dig Miles Morales. That revamped it for me because for me, I just was like, okay, I get it. White guy saves the universe again. Like, move on.
And see, that's my whole take on this, is that I've read that comic.
Yeah,
I've read that
I've
comic
seen it.
1,000
Right.
times.
Yeah.
Give me something different, and that's what I'm getting with Doctor Doom as Iron Man, Riri Williams as
Yeah.
Iron Man. You know,
And that's why
that's why I'm loving it. And I don't
Superior
know.
Spider-Man was so
Superior
refreshing.
Spider-Man was awesome, but the fanboys just bitched about it.
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
didn't. They
Because
didn't.
they
sit-
want the same fucking story. Who
Those
the
fanboys-
fuck was that?
I don't
got-
want the same.
Those
story all
fanboys
the
also think a woman can't write Rick. So
There's that. Yeah.
Sometimes
exactly.
you got to go to the smaller publishers like Image and Dark Horse and things like
Or
that.
Boom.
Or
Boom
Boom.
Studios
Boom
makes
is
some
real good.
great comics,
Yeah.
and Boom is doing
My-
Boom's doing a lot of nostalgia projects right now. So I mean, they started the first Boom title I read was when they started doing Muppet comics.
What is
And I-
that? What is that comic company that our friend Lisa Wu is working for?
The goddamn
The
Woo?
goddamn Woo. Shout out to the
Woo.
goddamn
She's
Woo.
like a publicist.
Oh, it's
for,
a Dynamite.
It might be Dynamite.
I don't know if it's Dynamite.
I'll look up.
But it's like, but it's
Top
like,
Cow.
It's all the big names are there,
Yeah.
and they're doing their own shit. You know.
That's
Well,
gotta be
you're probably
Boom.
giving
That's
more
gotta
free
be
will
Boom
to
or
take a
Image.
chance.
Well, that's
And it
Just
does.
give 'em a chance.
That's why you have titles like Invincible
Or Rat
on
Queens.
Image. Yeah.
Rat,
or-
Rat Queens is a fantastic sword and sorcery comic with an all-female cast. Not female writers. That could change, but still, it's great. You think about Lock and Key. Who did Lock and Key?
That was,
great horror comic. It might have been Image.
Stephen King's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joe Hill.
Joe
It's a-
Hill.
it's a
Yeah.
ser- a TV series coming.
Lock and Key was dope.
If it's
That
on the
was
right
way
network,
good.
this boy is signed on.
It's one of the Hulu's or Amazons or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Give it a budget.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, just why are people bitching because they want to see the same fucking story?
I don't want to see the
Because
same
that's what I'm
story.
saying. Like, I mean,
It's
we're-
not so much they want to see the same story that they don't want to see anything different or out of the norm.
Exactly, but I
Like,
mean,
the second you peek your head out of the box, they get scared.
and I will say this to a fanboy or a fangirl. I will say this to you right now. We can all agree. We all like us some intimacy. Agree?
Mhm.
Okay. Like we all. Every now and then, it's nice to try a little something different.
It's kind of like when this really
Spice it up.
awesome
Yeah.
awesome movie about robots punching kaiju comes out, and everybody goes to Grown Ups too.
Yeah.
You talking about Power
Well,
Rangers?
I would-
Lisa Wu is working for
Aftershock.
Aftershock.
Oh,
that's
okay.
it.
Shout out to the goddamn Woo.
We love the
Yeah,
goddamn
she's-
Woo.
Yeah,
she's
follow her
amazing.
on Twitter, the goddamn Woo.
But back to what Shannon was saying, all respect about the whole Bucky thing. I mean, some of the best Captain America
agree.
comics I read was when Steve was dead and Bucky was trying to be Cap.
Yeah.
Right.
There was some great stories there about living up to a legend and, just...
I agree with you, Kerry. My thing was just like,
Yeah.
this is it. This is like, because remember,
Oh, that was a
for
tipping
decades,
point. Okay, all right.
for decades, we were all going,
At
well,
least-
they're like, everybody comes back.
except Bucky.
Except Bucky.
That was the
Right.
That was the
Because he'd been dead for what?
that was the storyline that helped me describe imposter
You
syndrome.
mean before Winter Soldier? Or?
Bucky had been dead like for 70 years.
since
Yeah.
the end of the World War II.
Yeah,
He
he'd
came back
been
in
dead
the early
for
2000s.
70
And was
years.
it was
or
it Ed
something like
was
that.
it Ed Brubaker or Bendis
Brubaker.
who said, "Okay, I'll see that challenge."
It was
Yeah,
Brubaker.
you know, it was Brubaker, and I'm not saying that the stories weren't good, but that was like, well, shit, everybody's going to come back now.
Yeah.
But if you
I
are,
And
think
then
anybody-
fucking Jason Todd. came
Any
back.
writer can bring somebody back, but at least with Bucky, they did something with it. You know what
No,
I mean?
and
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
something
I'm
amazing
not,
with it.
I'm not complaining about the story.
But what I'm saying is, at least I'll accept that compared to something like Coulson, where it's like Coulson died, they resurrect him, and he's back. And it's just Coulson again, like that.
we just need a recognizable face for this series.
Yeah.
like
so-
it could have been
Thing.
anybody. Could have been the new head of Shield.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
but they wouldn't have had the tie-in of that familiar.
But
face
exactly.
from Avengers.
There's the familiar face.
Well, you
and-
can have his face on like the in memorial wall, like,
and
you know.
Clark Gregg.
But also-
Clark Gregg, one of the nicest, coolest dudes in show business, wouldn't have a weekly paycheck.
That's
Sure.
true.
But,
That's
and,
true,
and
too.
also, I'm not complaining because I think he's great on that show.
Well,
think
and
he
I
is,
do,
too.
and I love it.
The last season of Shield was amazing.
But I give
Amazing.
I
So
give
good.
more respect to doing something with the character that takes a twist on it, like you did with Bucky, compared to just putting him back in action.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, I'm back.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm back. I'm the lead.
I got healed.
Hey guys, I left the stove on. I guess I better check on that.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry.
That was a good conversation,
Well, and
guy.
yet-
Look
yet-
at us.
I mean, don't even get me started on Bobby Ewing.
we're like grown-ups and articulate.
Finally, this I'm gonna. This is very limited nerding going on here. I want to see this documentary so bad because it's about
Is the Garbage Pail Kids one?
no,
Oh.
it's about 3 minutes of film. The most analyzed and studied and regarded as magical ever captured on film.
Is it
Shannon's gonna say it's in Wild Things.
Sharon Stone uncrossing her legs?
That was like 6
Nope.
seconds.
3 minutes of film.
Is it Ed 209 blowing that dude away in RoboCop? Just
The
What are 3 minutes?
the movie is called 7852, 78/52,
Okay.
and it's about the shower scene from Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It is an entire 90-minute
That shit.
documentary.
There used to be, I'll never
It's just
forget,
that makes me feel uncomfortable.
when I was a kid. It's actually one of the things that like influenced like my film, like just world of film. We were at Universal Studios Orlando, and on the left side was the Hanna-Barbera ride, and on the right side was the Hitchcock, and it taught you all about how Hitchcock what he did. The first thing was like birds in 3D and like that, but the second room had a shower on the floor, and they invited somebody to come in, and they showed you how they filmed the Psycho scene, and how he used chocolate syrup for the blood and like all that kind of shit. Fucking one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And now it's Shrek 4D.
Well, then,
That's obviously
then-
a better choice.
then you and I need to go see this documentary.
I'll go see it with you
It's,
easily.
The 3 minutes or so comprised of 52 cuts shot with 78 setups.
Yep.
So
Wow.
78,
Are you kidding me?
52
No, it's one of the greatest shots
damn.
ever.
that make up the shower scene in Psycho. Filmed solely about breaking down the scene's genius and importance. It is a deep dive.
Remember when the theater that became your old studio played Psycho?
Yeah.
We went and saw it, and it was amazing what a different movie it is on a big screen.
On a big screen,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah. Using testimonies of experts, filmmakers, and the people who were there, the director, Alexandre Felipe, beautifully shows how the 78 setups combined with the 52 cuts change film history forever. Starts with the basics, why Hitchcock made the film and his thoughts going into it, and then presents Psycho in historical and social context of the time.
That movie scared the shit out of people.
Felipe talks to people who were at the premiere who explain how Hitchcock used Psycho to change how films are exhibited. It's basically the spoiler. Because that was the ad campaign. This is, do not reveal what happens in the last 5 minutes of this film. That was part of the ad campaign.
Right, and everybody's like, "Oh, I got to go see what happens in the last 5 minutes of that film." Yeah.
All while archival interviews with Hitchcock himself, as well as some surviving family members,
I'd like to go see this too.
validate some of the claims of being made into a documentary. Guillermo del Toro is in it, Elijah Wood, Eli Roth, Jamie Lee Curtis. God damn! So I'm hoping that
I will totally go see that with
It
you.
is available soon, and I hope it plays in a theater.
Yeah.
I do. I hope it plays in a theater.
It was one of those attractions too, because after you went to the Psycho one, then you went to Vertigo, and they had the Statue of Liberty, and they got somebody from the crowd, they put him in a chair, and they pulled him up, and they showed the camera how it looks like they fell from like the Statue of Liberty. And the best part was when you walked outside near the gift shop, they had a giant wall of like apartment buildings with little windows that had projections in them, and they had little binoculars you could pick up. So you're doing,
my God.
So you're doing rear window, and they're like, find the killer, and you're like, whoa. One of the coolest fucking things they ever had.
And
I
it's
remember
not
like
there anymore.
It's just gone.
visiting Universal Studios as a kid. Fucking like
So much better
Freak.
than visiting it as an adult.
I was I've always been like really scared of horror movies, like always. And we were walking in Universal Studios. I was probably like 7 or 8. Fucking Green Frankenstein comes walking up.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad used to love to tell the story. I just fucking booked it. I fucking ran. I was like, fuck Frankenstein. And I ran and I hid in a goddamn cannon.
You'll never find me in here.
Oh, no,
That's a horrible place to hide.
Imagine, like your kid just books.
Fuck you, Frankenstein.
Fuck you.
What would have happened? What would have happened?
Fucking Frankenstein.
What would have happened if Dracula had showed up and shot that cannon at the Franklinstein?
I know. So like, I totally like, and I guess my mom and dad spent like 45 minutes walking around going, Shannon, where are you? And I was like, I'm in here. I'm going for Frankenstein.
Well, and I credit my first visit to Universal Studios as a kid for finally curing me of being afraid of Jaws.
Because it malfunctions every time the train goes by.
Exactly.
Because the movie scared the shit out of me, gave me nightmares for 2 years, and then you see the mechanical shark in action, and you go, oh, that's not scary.
That's stupid.
Okay, I get it.
The other
It's the
thing
power of editing.
The other thing I remember from my first visit to Universal Studios is that they had that whole section of the $6 Million Man.
Yeah,
Remember?
the tunnel.
No, this is $6 million man, where you could go and you could stand in a jail cell.
Oh.
And like two of the bars were made out of
They-
rubber. And
they
you'd be like,
did
"Brr,"
take
just like
the-
on the show. And like me and my little brother Robert, we picked up a van. Brr. It was like balanced in a weird way that you could do it. But then the Battlestar Galactica.
The Battlestar Galactica thing. Well, back to the $6 million man, the ice tunnel, which was in the Bigfoot episode.
Oh yeah.
The ice tunnel
You-
that they repurposed from the time tunnel.
Yeah, you went through that. They sent the tram through it, and it literally did feel like you were turning. But
And
the
then
Battlestar
Bigfoot showed up.
Yeah, the Battlestar Galactica thing was really disappointing.
I remember it being so cool. I think I was younger than you.
I think you
'cause
were.
the
Fucking
Cylons-
Cylons came out there shooting. Boop, 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 boop,
Because
boop.
they were they didn't move, they just stood there. And then when the Colonial Warrior actor shot them, they didn't really explode or fall down like they do on the show.
Yeah.
They split right down the middle from the waist up. So the legs were still there. They
Yeah.
were fine. And the smoke kind of went.
Oh,
and
Kerry,
it just went.
see, you were way more observant than me because I was just like, "This is fucking great."
I was taking it in.
I'm
man.
I'm in the Battlestar Galactica.
I was taking it in. All right. Let's see. Do we have games and movies?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do we got? Let's begin.
Let's do it. You guys are gonna love this one first. It's the Emoji Movie. I know you guys wanted to see it.
I did.
Yeah, it's really
It
good.
was
I mean, like based on your review alone,
It was.
It's a poop.
I wanted to go, but it was sold out every
Every
time.
night.
I couldn't get
Every
in.
day.
Couldn't get in.
All right,
there
all
were
right.
literally threes of people in the theater.
Quick question, Jimmy.
Yeah.
You got you're on your deathbed. You got two movies that they can show you: Pixels or the Emoji Movie. Which one you do? Which one you watching?
That's
He's just like,
that's what I bring in the smothering pillow for Jimmy. That's
I got
right.
you, buddy. I got you.
The one that you will be excited about, War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
God damn it!
I haven't seen that
I'm
yet.
waiting,
me
for,
neither.
I'm waiting
Yo,
for the
Lee's
set.
is-
Give me the
I
set,
still
people.
haven't seen it.
Lee,
What,
that
a
shit
full
was-
set?
It's so good. I
That
want
shit.
a whole
Hey,
The trilogy?
I want the trilogy. Like,
The
it's-
trilogies you can pre-order that on Amazon
Yeah.
right now.
I want it to be a quintilogy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
do it.
brother, fam,
Is-
that
is
shit
it-
is
is it-
nice.
Is it possible that it'll go to 5?
They
you not
have-
see
it?
They've not ruled it out.
Okay.
but these three are just perfect.
Because
Yeah.
no, I have
I
not.
don't think they need to go any further.
I have not.
I don't think they
You know,
do, but they
until
could.
until Ricardo Montalban shows up to send Caesar back in time.
Well, no, they could go farther with that, and it could be like
Yes.
Well,
the
No
apes
spoilers,
are
no
in
spoilers.
charge.
well, then the next one could be just a remake of Planet of the Apes, and
Yeah.
and the spaceman comes
yeah.
from.
Right.
It could be that because that's kind of where it wound up.
I'd be. Like, could you imagine like what these people could do with it?
Oh, so
On
they
the
cast Mark Wahlberg.
But don't I mean when the credits roll? Didn't you feel like that's a story?
That's the whole
That's-
story.
that's
yeah,
a
but I'm
trilogy.
open. I'm open to more if it's the same fucking awesome.
Those people.
Creative
And then Winston
work
from
and
Overwatch shows
acting
up.
and- you know what I mean? I'm down. If somebody could do it, I'm down.
What's the next movie that director's making?
Oh, damn it.
I know I'm excited for it, but I can't remember what it is.
Can't remember.
Debbie,
Damn it.
Debbie Does Dallas.
It's definitely Debbie Does Dallas.
Might be.
It's all gonna be mocap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Doug Jones.
And the other one is just Annabelle Creation. You want to see a creepy doll? Speaking of horror films,
Oh, yeah, you
I
were-
heard about that.
it was creepy as shit.
Scared you?
I did. Fuck that.
What-
I ain't watching it again.
What movies? So that movie scared you the most?
It not scared me the most.
What's the one that like? Because I remember you. I remember.
What scared me the most was as a kid was Exorcist. That
Huh.
that kind of did it.
Interesting.
Prince of Darkness for me.
That's a good one too.
Town that dreaded sundown.
Get Out.
Ooh. When I was a kid, Halloween, I kind of did it.
No, Get Out. scared
After
the
I
shit
was
out of
like,
me.
I don't know.
That's
I
a
don't know,
scary movie.
12 or
No,
so like
Get
that.
Out is the scariest movie. And I watched it with a white girl on my couch, and she sat at the end of that couch.
I would have. I would have.
Stay
I
over
would've
there.
seriously-
We're
I
not
would've-
cuddling at all.
I
As
would
a-
have
as a-
nailed that white girl home to her parents.
As a 35-year-old man, I'm going to say CNN. That's
Yeah, that's scary.
scares the
Scary
shit out of me.
this movie.
MSNBC.
Yeah, that
oh,
one's scary
geez.
too.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
God.
Here's how Get Out should have ended, or it should have just been. I don't even like my he hits the deer, and then he's like, you know what? She's like, you know what? I don't even like my parents. Let's just go home and go get mimosas or something like that. And
I
then
still haven't seen it.
So
you gotta
really
watch
good.
it. Oh god,
Really good.
scary movie.
Is that it?
He's doing the Batman.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the one
right.
he's doing.
Yeah.
The Batman.
Batfleck.
Yeah, Batfleck Batman.
The Batman.
I'm excited for that.
games.
Big week for games. We got Deer Hunter Reloaded.
God, those
coming
deers
out
just keep
this-
coming.
Yeah, you got to reload to get the rest of them. Finally on the PC, we got Destiny 2. So
I know
I'm
Egg's waiting for that one, I
yes,
think.
I'm pretty excited for that one on the PC. It came out on consoles about a month ago, but PC's getting it this time, and it's finally out. I don't know what Hidden Agenda is. Oh, you're talking about Just Dance 2018?
Yeah, that shit's fun.
Yeah, that's out on every platform, including the 360 and the PlayStation 3. Wow, they're going back all the way. We got. I don't even know. Knowledge is power. Okay, looks like a kids trivia
Was it
game.
NBC special?
I don't know.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
We're trying to educate our listeners,
You'll
okay?
grow like a beautiful
let's see.
flower.
Carrie knows what it is.
Every hour.
What is this?
Never
Harry's
mind.
lost his damn mind.
Carrie, what is that?
This knowledge is power.
No, what? But from where?
It's a song
From who?
from Tim and Eric's show.
Oh,
I was like,
that
why I don't know
sounds
it.
about right.
Yeah.
That show's too stoned for me.
All right, we got something called Yomawari Midnight Shadows.
What'd you say about my mama?
Tony's having a stroke.
Yomawari.
Don't talk shit about my mama.
Wait, hold on. Is that
toast?
Is this a video game about a? Is this a video game about BYU putting on a?
That's really inside. Really inside.
Yomawari.
So what's the name of the game?
Hey,
Yoma-
I know that's what it's
Yomawari. Wari.
Yo,
I don't know how to say
Yo
it.
Mama Midnight Shadows?
Yeah.
Yo Mama's a Midnight Shadow. That's a we're playing the dozens at this point.
We got Rapella Fishing Pro Series. It's a fishing game. Okay, now for one that might be good, might be terrible. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah,
This
that-
is the new Assassin's Creed that takes place in ancient Egypt.
No.
So
Yeah,
they
we'll
took it. They took a year off from the franchise to kind of reboot it and
and recover from that movie.
recover
I'll-
from the awful
I'll just
sequels that have been coming out too
Not
fast.
a lot of convenient haystacks in ancient Egypt.
No.
No,
right.
not a one, probably.
See, what I'm guessing though
Papyrus.
is since it's on a
Lots of palm fronds.
since it's on a pyramid, you just slide down. You don't have
Oh,
to jump
yeah.
off.
That's I want to
Well,
do
what
that.
happens if you're
Fuck
on a,
Assassin's
What happens
Creed.
if you're on an obelisk?
Well, you're just kind of screwed.
Then-
You need a pile of palm fronds.
Yeah, you
palm
got
fronds.
palm fronds.
And
is
then
your
you
best
just
option.
like the Egyptian condor, caw and you dive off. Yep.
Fuck that game.
We also got Nintendo fanboys have been waiting forever for this. Super Mario Odyssey finally comes out. That looks pretty good. It's kind of more open world looking, almost a little bit like it looks like they're trying to Mario
Skyrim.
Mario Skyrim or Mario Breath of the Wild kind of a thing, like the last Zelda game.
Mario
So
Breath of the Skyrim.
Mario Rim.
Yeah, Mario Rim. And then the other one.
No.
This is one.
Oh no,
I'm really
Yeah,
excited for
I
this
I'm
game.
really excited for that.
This game looks so good. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Yes.
The last-
watch that trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good. The last Wolfenstein game that came out a few years ago, The New Order and the Old Guard or something like that. Both of those, same team. Excellent games.
So that's
And this one looks
Until Shannon finds a
spectacular.
glitch in it.
Nazi killing.
I'll find the glitch.
Yeah, this
I
is-
am the glitch.
So this is Nazi killing an alternate
Yeah.
timeline where World War II, the Germans won.
Yeah.
It's
And
some Man in the Heist Castle type shit.
Yeah, the first one took
So now
place.
we're
in,
the bad guy.
the first one took place in Europe, and this one's taking place in America. And
Yeah.
and they're trying to
Oh.
liberate the
You
U.S.
So,
gotta
uh,
watch the trailer. It's like a 10-minute trailer.
It
but
looks
it's
so
I'm
good.
gonna do.
good.
It's
I'm
really
gonna do a
good.
gameplay video of me just playing that game without weapons, and we'll call it Nazi Punch.
Nazi
Just go
punch
around,
the
punch a
game.
Nazi, and somehow I'm gonna find a dinosaur.
All right. Anything else?
That's it. That's
I've,
the one.
I've
I
got
can't
one
wait for
movie
that
that comes out this week, and I'm going to hammer through it
Oh,
because
okay.
I just have to say it.
All right.
It's called Thank You for Your Service, and thanks, Miles Teller, for showing how soldiers come back from Iraq with PTSD.
We know.
The one thing I learned from this movie, though, was like how vets are actually treated very shittily. Yep. And like
Yep.
I was like, wow, that's pretty fucked up.
Yep.
So it could have just gone straight to TV, but like just because there's some big actors in there, that's fine. But the one actress that's in there, and she's only in there for like, God, less than 5 minutes, Amy Schumer, with brown hair,
Really?
and crying all the time. And I don't know how they got her. to go
Dramatic
in.
role?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like her husband's killed in war, and like and Miles Teller blames himself, and I was like, really,
She's trying to
Amy Schumer?
She's trying to branch out.
I don't know.
Hey, you got to do something. 'cause
Yeah.
her
Yes.
last comedy special was.
That's what I hear. I haven't
Maybe
watched
that was
it
how
yet.
she felt after her comedy special.
I don't. It was just a weird. I was like, because she's got like really dark brown hair, and she's just crying. I go, is that Amy Schumer?
It's Amy Schumer.
So yeah, totally her.
Okay.
So that's out, but don't worry about it.
All right.
You know,
Yes, Mr. B?
I used to be really into ham,
Yeah.
and then they killed the ham,
Uh-huh.
But you know what?
and they brought it back, and it was all like sweet and weird tasting, but they wanted me to like the ham. And the ham is expensive. I think I'm just done. I think I'm done.